I'm in my kitchen, which is my favorite room in the whole house by far. Why? Because I do this, of course. But also because I think it looks fantastic, at least to me. I love our dining table, I love the big mirror, I love the big windows and the big door that leads to the garden, I love the dark countertops, I love the color of the kitchen. I think the whole thing is fantastic, and this is where I make food, this is where I make my coffee, this is where I play with my kid most of the time, because she also likes brownies. However, like with any space, things can be improved, and this is my next big project. We are going to fully upgrade my kitchen. We are going to add lights, we are going to do tiling, we are going to do paneling, we are going to paint, and God knows what else. And today we are going to start small. We are going to rectify a mistake I made a while ago, and I didn't even realize how stupid I was. I thought I was taking the easy way, I thought it was gonna be fine, but it wasn't. And I'm talking about the lights. Right behind me you can see a cabinet. This cabinet was retrofitted to the kitchen and wasn't here when we moved into the house. We got it from IKEA and we put it in because we needed some extra space. And of course later we realized that we needed a little bit more lighting. Usually I'm not a big fan of messing around with electrics. It is probably my least favorite thing to do. So I wanted to avoid doing any of that. There's also laws around these things. You can't create your own circuit, you need to be a certified electrician, or maybe you can, I don't know. But that's why I usually try to avoid some of the things and just go for the easy solution. And the easy solution in this case was battery powered lights. Look, there's two of them under the cabinet. They are both magnetic. There's magnetic stickers right under the cabinet, and you just stick each one of this on, which I can't do right now. Let me try again. There we go. So one goes right there. So, and the idea is that the installation is very easy. You don't need to mess around with any electrics, and you need to charge this every now and again. They're also quite configurable, so you do different temperature, so I can go from cold to warm, and also there is a sensor right here to detect motion, so they're not turned on or turned off all day. In theory, sounds very good. In practice, however, they're absolutely horrendous. I hate them. I want to throw them out because the battery runs out every 15 goddamn minutes. So I need to charge them all the time, which I don't want to do. So the sum result of that is that we have no lights most of the time under that cabinet. The other most annoying thing in the entire world is this. And here I am, happy as a clam, trying to make myself some sandwich, trying to reach the bread in there, and boom, here I am, it goes. And I know what you're gonna say. Make your sandwich somewhere else. I don't want to make my sandwich somewhere else. I want to make my sandwich right there in my own kitchen, right next to the fridge. So all in all, these have to go. And what makes my mistake even more stupid is that if I had just looked above this cupboard, I would have seen that I already have an electrical connection I can easily use to put some lights right under there. Look, right underneath the pre-installed cabinets, I already have some lights. So I look behind them, there's a little cable I can't show you, which goes right up, and this is on top of this cabinet. So there's already an electrical box with a wire coming out which provides electricity. You can see here it's very disgusting, it's very messy. I'm not entirely sure why this was left like that, but if you look past all this mess right here, you'll see this little box. This is what they call a driver. So a driver essentially takes electricity, and in my case it takes it from this electrical box, and then it drives that electricity to the lights. So this is for the two lights I have underneath this cabinet, and guess what, this can actually drive 1, 2, 3, 4 lights in addition to the two that I already have on this cabinet. All I need to do is get a set of lights which is identical or similar to the ones that I already have in the pre-built kitchen cabinets. I need to pass a wire from the driver I was just showing you on top of this cabinet. I need to pass it through here between them, behind this big IKEA cabinet, and I need to install the new lights right under here. And they're gonna be working based on the house electricity, no batteries, and they're gonna be controlled by a switch which I already have in the kitchen, which controls all the lights under the cabinet. And they'll also help integrate this into the kitchen because, as I said, it was retrofitted later. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Now, if you actually don't have an electrical box or you don't have a driver, I'm going to link a video from Proper DIY that explains you other ways you can install cabinet lights, but there's loads of videos like that on the internet you can find for whatever use case you have. But just be careful. If you bought a new build like me a couple of years ago and you're retrofitting cabinets, the chances are you already have those boxes, you already have those connections. So like me, you don't need to do much apart from actually getting new lights and plugging them in. So let's do that now. Here's my box of lights. I bought 3. I think this is quite a large cabinet and 3 lights would do very, very nicely. Here's his box. I've got 3 of these boxes, and actually this big box comes with a driver as well, but as you saw, I already have a driver. Normally this looks like this. So here's the driver, and here's a cable that goes into the driver right here, and then this can either go into a socket in your kitchen or into an electrical box like the one I just showed you up there. But for my use case, this isn't even useful. I'm gonna leave this on the side because I don't need it. But before I start doing anything, I'm gonna clear this workspace because I'm gonna need some space to be able to install this light underneath this cabinet. So let's move all of this onto the other side. The first thing I want to do is test these lights, make sure they all work. And that should be pretty simple. We need to take them out of their boxes. See, each one comes with a couple of small tiny screws. Not sure if you can even see them. Which I can use to screw the lights on the cabinet. They're gonna sit behind, so they're not gonna be obtrusive and I want to make my sandwich in peace. The other thing you need to see is this little cable. Look, this is exactly the cable that will go up to the driver, and this is exactly the connection my driver uses because these lights are essentially identical. Let's begin with the quick testing. So light number 1, should plug that in right here. Oh, that works perfectly. Very nice. Now let's do the second one. That works as well. And the last one. All the lights are working as expected, so what I'm going to do next is connect them all on the driver and bring them right down here so I can then show you exactly where I'm going to install them underneath this cabinet. So this is where I had the old lights, right? The one was here, the other one was here. We'll see if we can remove those later on. But the idea is that the new lights, there's 3 of them, we're gonna space them out evenly. We're gonna place them right here. So similarly to the rest of the kitchen. So we're gonna do 2 here, 1 over here on this side. We're gonna pass this cable through here, through the gap behind this cabinet, and we're gonna pass it through the side. Slightly. We're gonna pass it right here through the side, right this way, and up to the driver on top of the other cabinet. So let's pass all 3 of them. There we go. All 3 are now on the other side. And I can take all the 3 cables that are on this side and connect them up with the driver up top. So let's do that right now. Let's see, the lights are not working. So one is working rather, for sure, and the other, and the third, which is perfect. So all I did was pass the cables through there, all the way up to the cabinet and put them in the driver. Now I'm going to switch this off because I don't want to get electrocuted. And then we are gonna figure out what's the best place for each one of them underneath this cabinet. It's quite difficult to film under here, but what you probably can't tell is that these are actually two different cabinets. So this one is 80 centimeters long and this one is another 40, so 120 in total. This isn't really very useful information, so I think what I'm gonna do is I simply want to put two under this big cabinet and probably leave equal space on both sides. So I measured about 7 centimeters before, and I think it looks quite right. We're about here, and same on the other side of this large cabinet. And then in this cabinet, obviously I'm just gonna put one right in the middle. The only thing I need to be careful with is to leave a little bit of space behind, and actually it's around this much, and the reason for that you're going to see in the very next video. So let's make marks in the places we want this to be. So as I said, on this side I'm going to leave about 7 centimeters before starting on the light. Doesn't need to be super precise, these are not going to be very visible, but I still want to do a decent job. So 7 centimeters on each side, and then right here we have 40 centimeters for this cabinet, as I said before. So the middle should be right on 20, and this light width is 15. So we need 7.5. Subtract that from 20, which means 12.5 is where this light should begin. That's my mark made right there. And right there, looks about right. You can see my marks. There's one here, there's one here, 2, there's one here, 3. The way you install this light is you need to push them out. So this would come out from within, leave you with the shell. If you look carefully, there's 2 holes within the shell. So this is where we're gonna put our screws through and put them on the cabinet. And then we need to carefully pull this out and plug the actual light back inside, like this. I have my tiny little screws right here. I have my drill. I have my new bit, which is actually quite excellent. It grips amazingly on any screw. So now I need to put those lights in place.
A few moments later.
Okay, we put this in. We've screwed them on the cabinet. Now we need to try and pull the cables. And I think this one is actually already pulled out quite well. So all I need to do is push the light in. There we go. Very gently. That's in. Very well. Pull the middle one out. Now just need to push the light in nicely. So this one we're going to tighten up in a bit. For now, let's just install the lights. And now this last one here, I just need to pull it. Let me find it. There we go. So I just pull it out and install the light. With the lights installed correctly under this cabinet, now I need to sort out the mess with the cables, because you can see they're all just hanging in there at the moment. The way I'm gonna do that is by using this trunking for cables. So it's a D-line trunking, you can see, because it's the shape of a D. And I'm gonna use just a small piece in order to pass the cables between the two cabinets. So I'm gonna pull all the cables all the way here at the top, and then I'm gonna use the trunking over here and connect the two cabinets. And then once I'm done, then we need to sort out the mess with all the cables over there. Okay, let's see what we can do to clean things up a little bit over here. Going to start. Goodness, I'm gonna remove all this crap, all this tape. I should try and separate things. So I'm gonna put the three that go onto the left. I'm gonna put on the left hand of the driver. The other two I'm gonna put on the right, just to make it easier to separate the cables. Okay, should be that. And then over on this side, I'm gonna use some like a zip tie, maybe hold this together. Okay, there we go. Much tidier. Okay, let me just cut the zip ties, because I think they're a little bit visible from the kitchen. Okay, that was great. That was nice and easy. No cables are sticking out. The lights, they look completely in place. They go very well with the cabinet, and I think because the lights are the same as the rest of the kitchen, it seems like the cabinet was here forever. And you can't see any of the cables. I think you can obviously see the trunk, but it's quite small, you barely see it. It's also paintable, so it's not gonna be sticking out of the wall like a sore thumb. And we've tidied up all those cables up on the other cabinet as well, which makes me feel much better about myself. Now it's time to try them. I'm gonna go and turn the switch on. 1, 2, 3. There you go. I'm not entirely sure if you can see that full well. Grab the camera. I'll show you. Yeah, they all work. See? The temperature of this light turned out to be a little bit different from the other two. I think the ones we had are a little bit warmer. These ones are more like neutral. You can sort of tell if you're careful, but I think once I move everything back in place, it's not gonna be that much of a difference. So let me actually do that now. And here you go. Everything is back in place. Again, I'm filming up close because it's quite sunny. And if I go a bit back, I'm sure you will be able to see the light. So I feel like there is much more space in here. I'm sure I won't have any more problems making my sandwiches anymore. The lighting is much better. Obviously now it's controlled by the switch. So I don't need to worry about the motion sensor or anything like that. I don't need to worry about the battery running out. I'm really happy about this. And as we said before, they integrate entirely with the kitchen, which is amazing. You can barely see that trunk going on over there. So I'm very happy with the final result. And that's about it for today's video. So I spoke about this at the beginning already, but this is just the start of my kitchen upgrade. So today we have added the lights. The next video is going to be a little bit more complicated, shall we say, but it's going to be a great, fantastic upgrade for the kitchen. So wait for that one. But thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you the next time. Take care.